What's up, Five Links? I'm Patrick Simpson, and I wanted to share a portion of a powerful training call that my wife Cassandra contributed to on February the 5th, 2014. This is not to scare anyone that's thinking about becoming a part of this great opportunity, but it's only to give you a reality check about the things you may run into when dealing with people while doing your MLM business. I hope this helps someone. I'm now going to take you to that portion of the call now in progress.
Executive Director, Simpson, are you on the line?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, National Director. Welcome to the call, everyone. I hope you each have had a very productive week so far in your Five Links business. And I hope the remaining portion of your week is even better. Now, like National Director Rochelle Waters said, most of you all know me. I know there's a few new business partners on the line that I have not had a chance to meet yet. So my training topic for tonight is me sharing a personal experience with you. Now, some of you on the call have heard this story before, but my reason for sharing this story again is because I know there are some of you that have run into this same situation. And if you haven't, you may. And I want to help you figure out how to handle that situation. So I'm just going to tell you what my personal experience has been. And then afterwards, I'll give you a few tips that may help in dealing with people that you'll end up talking to. Now, first thing I want to do is go ahead and apologize ahead of time for any feelings that may get hurt or any toes that may get stepped on. Because most of you all know me know that I'm going to give it to you straight. I'm not going to sugarcoat a whole lot of stuff. If you really want my opinion and you ask me, I'll give it to you. Now, it's not my intent to hurt anybody's feelings, but this is what my mother-in-law always says. If your toes get stepped on, that means you need to move your feet. So my training topic is our personal experience. Now, on Monday night, during my research for this call, I came across the following information. And you should also know that before I do any type of training call, I pray about whatever topic I come across that I feel like I may want to talk about. Now, on Monday night, when I was doing my research, I came across this information. This came from former President Gerald Ford. And he talks about a visionary leader. And he says, a visionary leader should speak and act with conviction. A leader is one who can stand before an antagonistic audience and speak with conviction, strength, and persuasion. A well-informed leader often finds himself on opposite sides of a discussion with those who don't have all the information or with those who do not understand all the implications. Now, if that's the case, the leader then has two choices. He can teach the opposition what they need to know, or the leader can let time and events prove his wise course of action. Now, once I read that, it brought back to my memory what happened to Patrick and me when we were given the okay to introduce the Links to Funds program to the board of directors for our church's outreach program. Now, when we got into Five Links, we were really excited about this Five Links business. So we decided we were, of course, going to talk to the people that we knew first. So one of the people we talked to was our pastor. Now, again, I will tell you that I have prayed about this topic, and I wanted to make sure it was good with God that I use it for training on this call. Now, on Tuesday morning, I received that confirmation because I found the following excerpt in my reading. And it says, Great Expectations. I once asked a counselor what the major issues were that brought people to him. Without hesitation, he said, the root of many problems is broken expectations. If not dealt with, they mature into anger and bitterness. In our best moments, it's easy to expect that we will find ourselves in a good place, surrounded by good people who like and affirm us. But life has a way of breaking those expectations. Then what? My expectations when I talk to people, and that's anybody, whether it be Five Links family, my immediate family, trainers, whomever, I expect the following things. I expect to be treated with respect. I expect to be extended professional courtesy. I expect that people that have known me practically all of my life would be mindful of the fact that they've known me practically all my life. I also expect to have an open, honest, and dignified conversation. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think that's too much to ask of anybody. But I will tell you now, here's our story of broken expectations. I'm not going to give you all the details, but I'll give you the highlights. We received permission to present the links to funds info to the board of directors that I was a member of. Now, we did use the 9-minute presentation that was done by Senior Vice President Lisa Douglas Doe. We gave out the professionally designed handouts from the company, and we were dressed for business. Now, after the 9-minute presentation, the pastor threw his handout on the table and became very hostile towards the Five Links company in front of the board members. Now, keep in mind, some of those same board members had already seen the presentation because they came to a Super Saturday and they were interested. The pastor ended his tirade by saying the following, and I quote, "The people in this church trust me, and there is nothing you can say to convince me that this business is anything other than a Ponzi scheme. You make money by enrolling people, and once there are no more people to enroll, there is no more money to be made. I will not bless this, and I will not turn this loose in this church." End of quote. Now, Patrick and I packed up our things, and we walked away from that meeting feeling defeated and deflated. We drove home in absolute silence and disbelief. Why? Because we were blindsided by a person we trusted, a person we respected, and a person that outwardly appeared to be open-minded. And honestly, I expected more from the pastor and more from that group of board members. Now, coincidentally, both of our national directors, both Dre and Joe, offered to come out and do the presentation for us. But because of scheduling conflicts and issues and travel time and all kinds of other issues, neither one of them was available. It turned out that had to be divine intervention. Later that night, I texted Joe and I told him, I said, "Thank you for the offer to handle the links to funds presentation. It did not go well at all." Five Links family. That night was a turning point for both me and Patrick. I felt like I let Patrick down because of how the meeting turned out, because I was the one that asked for the meeting to take place in the first place. And Patrick felt like he let me down because he didn't feel like he protected me from the tirade that we were a part of. And neither one of us had any idea that that kind of thing was going to happen. Now, when you go back to what former President Gerald Ford said, you can teach the opposition what it is they do not know, or you can prove your point through your course of action. Now, during that meeting, that tirade, Patrick and I were not given the opportunity to say anything to defend the company, nor to defend ourselves. So we have chosen to prove our point by pushing through our broken expectations. Now, we are very hesitant about approaching another pastor, but that's something we're working through, and we have to deal with that every day. Every time we face the fact that we're going to go out and talk to somebody, that little remembrance always creeps up into the forefronts of our minds. So we're having to deal with that on a daily basis. We have had to put our guards up in order to get to the success that we want out of this business. Now, I did request a meeting with the pastor, and it was granted. He also called my mother into the meeting, and she had no idea what she was even coming in there for. Now, of course, he jumped into his tirade again. And after he did that, he extended an apology. Then, at the end of the meeting, between me, him, and my mother, he looked at my mother and said, "Mom, be sure to keep your money in your pocket." So you talk about adding insult to injury. That did it. Now, the funny thing was, both my parents had seen the presentation. They had met our national directors. They had met Kurt Keys in person. They've sat through a Super Saturday. And I had not even asked them to switch to any of our products and services. Not one thing had I asked them to do. Now, I will tell you, I still attend that church. That pastor is still there. But I have reasons for still attending. Now, trust and believe. It's a difficult task to get up on Sunday morning and look in the face of the person that deflated my enthusiasm for my 5 Links business, because I have to deal with that every time I see him. But my goal is, you're going to have to look in my face and know that when we reach the position we want to reach in this business, I'm not going to have to tell you I told you so. I'll just be able to look at you and smile, because you'll already know what's happening. And we're growing in this business. Now, the name of our website is Silent Success. And we never really thought about the name of our website until this whole incident happened. So now we realize that that name was put before us because we're going to have to do this thing ourselves. We may not have the support of the people that we thought we were going to have. And that's okay. We came in knowing that it's always been the two of us working for anything that we want. So for you folks that are on the line, and you may run into people that may be like this pastor, and it could be anybody. I'm not saying it's just pastors only. It can be anybody you run into. These are some tips just in general. Be careful how you respond to people that approach you. We each have the power of life and death in our tongue. And you have no right to shatter the dreams of people that confide in you or come to you for guidance in their business life or their personal lives. And number 2, if you're not interested in something somebody brings to you, I implore you to use tact and discretion when telling them you're not interested. You have no right to break their spirit. If you're not interested, simply say you're not interested and walk away. Now, tips for the business partners. Some of you that may be new, this call is not to scare you away, but this call is reality for a lot of us. So here are some tips for you. We were not promised that everyone we talk to will convert to or believe anything we say or have to offer them. We have to be people of example when others are not. Your trials will make you stronger. You must be true to God and true to yourself, no matter what comes your way. Now, that whole incident with the pastor and the meeting and the links to funds presentation, that happened to us February 5th, 2013. 1 year ago today. Now, how ironic is that? I resigned from that board on April 1st, 2013. And you can trust and believe that Patrick and I are not the same people that we were 1 year ago. Every one of us is a part of each other's stories, and sometimes the only way to deal with your story or your disappointment or your broken expectation is to tell somebody else about it. So again, I apologize if I said anything to offend anyone. It was definitely not intentional. I love each and every one of you, and I wish nothing but blessings upon your 5 Links business. So National Director Rochelle Waters, I turn the call back over to you, and I say thank you for giving me the opportunity to share our personal experience on this call.